I got a special guest on all the way from New York. Go ahead and introduce yourself, man.
Yeah, I'm Barry, coming out of New Jersey, central New Jersey, central northern New Jersey.
All right,
Glad to, glad to be here.
coming out of New Jersey, my man. So, Barry, let's go ahead and begin. So, this how I start. I give my guests 5-10 minutes to go off about anything they want to go off about, sports related, anything that's happened in the world. What you want to get off your chest?
Well, basically, I'm talking, of course, down the road is MetLife Stadium. We got the Giants, we got the Jets. Both disappointing this year. And there's a great question about what their futures are. They're just, I think as a sports fan, you look at the team where it's now and you're always looking for the future. And I think it's in flux for both of them. A lot of changes have to be made. A lot of changes need to be made.
So, what team do you go for the most, the Giants or the Jets?
I'm a Giant fan. You have to understand, this is New Jersey. The Jets are not New Jersey. No matter what you all say, the Jets are not New Jersey. I mean, they made it MetLife Stadium, but forever it was Giant Stadium. It was Giant Stadium. And for better, for worse, the Jets were tenants there, but it was Giant Stadium.
Hey, so what do you believe are the Giants' problems? Like, let's start with the offense. What you believe on the offense side is the problem?
Yeah, I think there's a fair question. I'm glad that we do not see Evan. You good? Okay.
Yeah, I'm hearing you.
Okay. I'm glad I do not see Evan Neal. I think Evan Neal, well, as of today, he's a bust. He's a bust. Okay. He was taken top 10. He was a bust. Maybe one day you turn him into a guard, but there's no matter of teaching. You can't overcome slow footwork. You can't overcome slow footwork. And that's what it is. And when you're out on the island on a tackle spot, the guys running around him, these speed merchants, whether it be Max Crosby, TJ Watt, whoever, they just run around you all day long. And there's no counter for that. You want to put a chip on them, but on the end or outside linebacker, but now you're already automatically committing an extra person because you have a shortcoming. And, if you're playing it short all game long, it matters. So I'm glad to see, that Evan Neal is not on the field. He disparaged the fans last year as well. Basically, these are the fans that support him. These are the fans that come out to the games. These are the fans that put in money into the coffers of the Maras. That gives them the money to pay people like Evan Neal. So he disparaged them last year, which is a bad thing, which is really bad. And, karma, everything comes around. So he's not on the field this year. There's a question is how much better are they? I was looking at this stat the other day. Well, actually today, preparing it. Where is this? Hold on a second. New York Giants. They're averaging 85 yards a game. 85 yards a game. That is 30th in the league.
Mm-hmm.
You don't win with that. You don't win. The passing yards a game right now, it's only four games, right? Passing is 211 yards a game. It's 15th. That's competitive. Okay, that's fine. But you cannot win at 30th. And I watched the game last week. Devin Singletary had nowhere to go. So the question is, how much better is the line? You got guys like Runyon and the other tackle Van Roten, the other guard Van Roten. They're professional, but last week it was a bad turnout. And they're averaging 15 points a game. That's 29th in the league. You don't win many games like that. You just don't win. So that's the story of the New York Giants. The defense is competitive. They're giving up 21 points a game. That's 13th in the league. That's competitive. I'm okay. I'm a little spoiled. We've won two Super Bowls this century. Okay, we're only in 25 years into it, 24 years in. I'm not greedy. I'm okay with seasons of being competitive. I want to be competitive. I want to be competitive.
Yeah, my favorite player from the Giants is Lawrence Taylor. I always wore number 56 growing up. That was like one of the first defense players before I even started looking at Ray Lewis and them. I like it was always LT. The way he used to be grabbing people's jerseys, yanking them down. I used to do the same thing or attempt to. But so on the defense side, I see y'all drafted the boy from Georgia. Y'all drafted a little few pieces here and there. What do you feel about the defense out the ball? You feel like they're gonna improve, or you feel like it's gonna go downhill?
I think I'm okay that they're trying to build on the edges, Burns and Kayvon. I'm good with that. I'm fine with that. You know what they gave up for Burns? I think they gave up a second-round pick, which is potentially a lot if you have a really poor record. But I applaud the effort. You got to try. You know, if you don't try, you will not succeed. At least the general manager Joe Shane is trying. I'm okay with that. Burns and Kayvon, you know, there was a great conversation when it came out with Kayvon. You know, Detroit took Aiden Hutchinson at first, before just a few picks before, and that year. And actually, Kayvon had more sacks than Hutchinson, but Hutchinson has a lot more pressures. Okay, he's on the ball the whole time. Seemingly, Kayvon does not. Well, seemingly, absolutely, Kayvon does not have nearly as much pressures. Pressure creates turnovers. Pressure gives balls that float up in the air that defensive backs can catch. Pressures are good. So, you know, that's my qualm with Brian Burns, and Kayvon Thibodeaux, that not enough pressures. The sacks might look good at the end of the season. You know, they better have 10 plus. You know, especially the season keeps on getting longer all the time. But not enough pressures. I mean, Dexter, you gotta love Dexter. He's a dog. He's a dog. He's sitting there and double teamed all the time. You know, you can't measure how many sacks he has, but he just clogs everything up there. He's awesome. He's awesome.
Yeah, I hope the Giants get their stuff together. I mean, it's not the Eli Manning era or the Lawrence Taylor era, or, you know, it ain't the Michael Strahan era either. I mean, but I believe the Giants, after Elon left, was having a few problems with offense. What do you feel? Were you mad that Saquon wanted to trade after he was injured for so long, or were you just like one of the fans, like, whatever?
I think I'm okay that Saquon is gone. I'm okay. I make an analogy, and I'm very optimistic here. When Tiki Barber retired, retired after the end of the 2006 season. By the way, if you go back, look at his numbers, fabulous numbers. You really have to understand how good he was. Fabulous player. But it gave Eli the opportunity to grow. It became Eli's team. They won in 2007. They won in 2011. He was the offense. He was the man. If Tiki always wanted to be the man. Okay, you're not the man. The man, it has to be the quarterback. It has to be the quarterback. Saquon left. There's a void. There's a potential for Daniel Jones to become the man. He's not become it so far, but that is the way. And the general manager's approach is, you got to pass the ball. That's why you paid him $140 million or $160 million. You paid him that money. Go out and do it, or not.
Okay. Do you feel like you feel like Daniel? I'm glad you said that. Do you feel like Daniel Jones will ever become the man, or you feel like it's time for the Giants to trade him for draft picks?
Say that again.
I'm glad you brought up Daniel Jones. You think he will ever become the man in about a year or two, or do you think it's time for New York to trade him for draft picks?
Yeah, you know, it's a great conversation. First of all, Malik Neighbors is a fabulous pick. But the conversation about, they didn't want to give up too much to move up to the third spot to get Drake May. Listen, if you get your stud quarterback, there's no such thing as too much. There's no such thing as too much because you're set now for the next 12, 15 years at quarterback. There's no too much. So if they were convinced that Drake May was going to be it, I don't care what the package would have been. I almost do not care what the package would have been. If that is your heart.
Barry.
Okay, I'm back.
All right, continue. You talk about Daniel Jones. Continue.
No, I don't think. I think they have to move on. It does. How many years you're going to? It's just not happening. When we get into we'll talk about Bryce Young and C.J. Stroud. What was underestimated with C.J. Stroud is his ability to process. His ability to process. That's so underestimated. It's interesting looking at quarterbacks and how they get it wrong. Jaden Daniels, he had 55 starts in college. That matters. Caleb Williams had just barely half that amount. Ooh. Caleb is making mistakes now because of his inexperience. It matters. They got the Bryce Young, C.J. Stroud conversation wrong.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't understand how good C.J. processes the play, how he's able to respond to the stimuli in front of him. They got that wrong. Daniel Jones does not process the same way, and it's problematic.
So, speaking of Bryce Young, moving on to the first topic.
Yeah.
Do you feel like they did him wrong? I'm gonna let you talk. I'm gonna let you talk. Do you feel like the Panthers did him wrong by putting him to the side for Andy Dalton, or you think it was the right move? Go ahead and tell the viewers what you think.
I never thought Bryce Young was the player. I never thought he was the player. And I am amazed that the people in the Carolina Panthers camp thought that. Forget about that trade that they made to move up for him. That was an atrocity. They're in draft hell right now because they have no picks. But I never thought he was a player. And he hasn't been, and he's actually digressing. So, I find it interesting that the head coach, Dave Canales, took the job. Basically, if you get an offer, you take it. You take it. But that's a tough take that he took. Tough that he walked in on because they didn't do Bryce Young wrong. He had opportunities. Andy Dalton won the first game. Almost won last week. There you go. The only thing different is the quarterback play. That's it. Now, Andy.
In my opinion, I believe they did do Bryce Young wrong. I mean, I didn't have high hopes for him because I don't like Alabama. I'm a Ohio State fan.
Okay.
But I still believe they should have gave him like an extra season because if you look at quarterbacks in the past, Brett Favre didn't do good starting out. It took Peyton Manning year 3 before he started actually winning games. Bryce Young only still a rookie, or year 2. I don't know. I might be wrong, but it just feels Panthers. You don't have enough weapons around him. You traded everybody. All the players you had in the 2010s era, Cam Newton and Luke Kuechly. Oh, this dog in my nerves. I had Chase. That's what I'm tired. Yeah, all them players that you had in 2010s era, you basically traded. So, do you feel like they really gave Bryce Young a chance, or you think he's just really not that good?
I don't think he's that good. He's not that good. You have to make adjustments when you have a player that's 5'10" at quarterback. And the players today are getting longer. They're getting longer. I think Drew Brees would have a hard time today. That's a tough deal. Drew Brees, Doug Flutie, they would have a tough time.
You think Russell Wilson have a tough time? I mean, even though he's still in the league, if he was drafted today, you think he'll have a tough time?
So Russell Wilson plays differently. Russell Wilson steps back a little bit further because he accommodates for his lack of height. Russell Wilson, at his best, throws a terrific deep ball. Bryce Young doesn't. Bryce Young is based on a quick release. You can't step back deep into the pocket and get a quick release. You got to do it 3 steps and gone. 3 steps, you're by the line of scrimmage. The guys put up their paws. The pass comes down.
Yeah, you got a point on that. I mean, but throughout the history, short quarterbacks don't really do good in the league. Cause you got 6'7", 6'8" linemen that's standing all on top of it. You got to go back at least 10 yards just so you can actually throw the ball. Unless you a running quarterback, but even still, you got to know how to maneuver. You just can't be running. You actually got to be like Mike Vick. You got to, do spin move and all that. Well, moving on from the Panthers, what you feel about Sam Darnold? He played for the Jets. He was considered a bust. He went, I guess, a team or two. Now he with the Vikings. So how you think you believe he's still a bust, or you believe he doing decent with the Vikings right now?
I think it's a Geno Smith conversation. Another Jet, by the way. Okay, good for Sam Darnold. Okay, don't know what happens when JJ McCarthy comes back. It's okay. We'll take it as is. So I have some stuff here. Not electric. 217 yards of a game passing. That's 10th in the league. That's good numbers. 11 TDs, 3 interceptions. That's almost 4-1. That's good. That's good. 2-1 is okay. 3-1 is better. 11 TDs, 3 interceptions is good. Okay. I was looking at it. Of course, Justin has 20 receptions. He's leading the team. Okay. I thought, Green Bay losing Aaron Jones. Oh, we signed Josh Jacobs. Not for the better. Jones has 16 receptions. Addison, I thought Addison would be doing better by now. He has only 6 receptions through 4 games. They're 14th in the league in rushing. They have a good complementary. Oh, check this out. This is the point differential. They're scoring 29 points a game. That's 4th in the league. That's good. And they're only giving up under 15. That's also 4th in the league. That swing there is terrific. That's why they're 4-0. There are only 2 teams in the league that are 4-0, right? Them and Kansas City. Seattle got beat the other night by Detroit. They had an opportunity, but it didn't happen. 29 to 14.8. They have a good defense. They have good special teams. It all matters. It all matters. Sam Darnold is doing enough. Good for him. Let's
go through the Jets, because the Jets, low key, my favorite team is the Cleveland Browns. I'm from Cleveland. Let's go through the Jets. Y'all had Mark Sanchez, Zach Wilson, Chad Pennington, even though he got traded to the team, Geno Smith, Kellen Clemens, Brooke Bollinger, and Sam Darnold. Do you
Wait, you're missing one. Okay, this is beautiful. Who's the only quarterback in Jets franchise history? We're going back to the Titans now. Right? You know why they were called the Titans, right? When they first came into the league, right? Because they wanted to compete against the Giants, and Titans are bigger than Giants. Just know that. Okay. They were the Titans. Okay. Who's the only quarterback to throw for 4,000 yards a season? Check that out. Joe Namath. All these other guys never threw for 4,000 yards.
Not one time?
Not one time. And Joe only did it once. Now, if Aaron don't do it, Aaron is a bust if Aaron don't do it.
We gonna get to Aaron Rodgers, because I know you was my second. We gonna get there. Let's start with you think the Jets got a history of drafting horrible players, or you think it's just the quarterbacks is horrible?
I'm a Giant fan. Okay, doesn't mean I don't like this conversation. If you're a Giant fan, therefore you have to hate the Jets. No, I hate is a strong word. I don't have place for that. Okay. They haven't won since '69. They haven't won since '69. That's a long time. What's interesting is the year after 1970, and this would be rewriting history, how Joe Namath would be viewed. Okay. In 1970, they had the ball on Kansas City's inside the 5, first and goal, and they got stopped. Bobby Bell, Willie Lanier, they got stopped cold. If they had won that game, of course, Kansas City won the Super Bowl. They beat the Vikings easily that year. The Jets won 2 Super Bowls in a year in a row. They would be looked at very differently, I think, very differently. That was their opportunity. It just didn't happen. That was it. They had Matt Snell and Emerson Boozer at running backs and fullback, and they couldn't punch it in. Kansas City was a tough team then. Yeah, that was the first. That was the second AFL team that won. Obviously, the Jets won the first time in Super Bowl III. Chiefs won next year, but they had a chance to beat the Chiefs, and they haven't. Yeah, they got Bill Parcells had them with Vinny Testaverde one year. They were competitive. That was good. What's the team with Mark Sanchez, and what's the head coach that they had?
Rex Ryan.
Yeah, but I think that was like they were doing that with mirrors. I think they were, that was Mark's. Pete Carroll got it right when he said that Mark Sanchez should have never come out. He was absolutely right. Right, Pete Carroll coached Mark Sanchez at USC. And he said, and Mark Sanchez came out early, and Pete Carroll said, no, harsh words about your own player, said he shouldn't come out. And ultimately, he was right. Pete Carroll knows ball,
It's okay. You being a Giants fan, let me ask that same question. Do you believe the Giants are, let's say, bad at drafting good players?
They've won a few times. Last 10 years, they haven't been good. They've been awful, but, part of being a fan is you take the good with the bad. I want to be good again. I mean, Washington's going to be, Jaden Daniels. That franchise is transformed. That franchise is transformed. They're in first place right now, right? They're 3-1. They 3-1, and they're transformed. They're on the upswing. They're up on the upswing. That's a great question. What do you think about the Eagles and the Cowboys? Talk to me.
What you mean?
I think, Jerry Jones saying, "Oh, we're thinking that the team is going to go anywhere." Cowboys ain't going anywhere this year. They got CD Lamb on the outside. Oh, this is good. And they had a chance to sign Derrick Henry, and he said it was too much money. Yeah. You see that? You see Derrick Henry running the ball that first play the other night. How much money is that worth? How much money is that worth? That's worth a whole lot of money. They got Ezekiel Elliott now.
Yo, what you feel about the Cowboys? What you feel about like this? How you think that? What's your predictions on the Cowboys this season?
I think Micah's a tremendous player. I think Mike Zimmer has to figure out how to use him, because they got, until last week, they got all sorts of holes on the run defense, I think Micah's tremendous, but Micah's not a defensive end, okay? Don't play him as defensive end. He's an outside linebacker, okay? Because if you're going to play him at defensive end, he's underweight and just going to get the snot beat out of him, okay? You put him on, you stand him up on the outside and let him fly. That's what you do with him.
I feel that. So I always said Philly, because this is not a Cowboys podcast. We ain't ESPN and all them over here. I might do like a 2 or 3 minute segment on the cow. I call them the cowgirls sometimes. I might do a 2 or 3 minute segment on them. We go right to the next time. This is not ESPN. We not Skip Bayless. so the Eagles though, I'll be calling them the Michael Vick 2.0 era. You remember they had Michael Vick, LaShawn McCoy, Deshaun Jackson, and now they got Jalen Hurts, Saquon, and Devontae Smith. Granted, I don't believe they going. What is they like 1-3?
AJ Brown. AJ Brown's a stud, and the problem. See, Baltimore figured out their identity really quick. You know, we're going to let Lamar do an RPO, and we're not going to play Derek that much. And then they finally figure out they got Derek. Just give him a damn ball and get out of his way. Get out of the way. Philadelphia needs to figure out, what are we? Are we an RPO, or are we going to feature Saquon? Because you got two great receivers, Brown and Smith. You got two really good. You can't be everything. You can't be everything. What are you? And Philadelphia hasn't figured that out yet.
You think is they trying to? You think they have a balanced problem of either whether they want to run the ball with Jalen, pass the ball a lot, or hand it off to Saquon all the time? You think that's a problem? Like they ain't figured out their offense yet?
So what's happening? Okay, and you see this with Patrick. Okay, defenses are going to two high safeties. When you go to two high safeties, you take away the long ball. Okay, and you got smaller, lighter players playing. You got Michael Parsons pretending to play defensive end. Okay, so you got lighter players, the guys who really can fly. The flip, the counter, because they're counter for counter for counter. The counter to that is just run the ball, just pound the ball out of the snot. And that's what John Harbaugh figured out real fast. Now, just give it to Derek, and we'll just run you over. That's fine. Baltimore's wide receivers are not nearly as good as the Eagles, but they've figured out their identity. The Eagles haven't figured it out. I think you're going to see a lot more running, whether it be a feature back, not so much, or you're going to see what Detroit does. You got two feature backs, and I'm really surprised what's happening in Miami. I'm sorry about Tua going down. Awesome, I wish him health, but they had a terrific running game last year. That's what you have to go. That's what Coach Mike has to go to, is that run game. They got three terrific runners. You got Davon, you got Jalen. You see Jalen Wright in college. Jalen Wright, he also runs 4.3. He got 4.3. You got Mostert. All these guys. Check this out. Davon's averaging 3.1 yards a carry. Wright 3.3. Mostert 1.5. This is what Green Bay did with Malik Willis. Run the ball. Okay? Be competitive. Do what you can do. Because this is what it is. You want to put light players on the field defensively. You run the ball and run, smack them down. Okay? That's what McDaniel has to do in Miami. He better figure out real fast, because they're scoring 11 points a game. They're last in the league.
I'm glad you brought that up, because I've been making videos where I said the slowest Miami receivers run that 4.4 flag. And even if you take Tua out, any quarterback can just throw the ball in the air deep, and your receiver should be able to get it. So the fact they got 1-3 start, I see why Tyreek Hill going off on the video. He was cussing out the coach. I've been going off too, because when Tyreek was in Kansas City, he was used to passing Mahomes, just throwing the ball deep, and he was just able to go get it. Tua, on the other hand, I don't know, he be overthrowing. Sometimes I don't see plays where he underthrow the ball. You should never be underthrowing the ball. It should always be over, because your slowest receiver is running at 4.4. So the fact that Miami got 1-3 start, even with all the stuff happening off the field, there's no excuses for it, like you just said. But that's just my opinion. You believe Miami gonna have to make some trades at the trade deadline, or you think they're gonna keep the same team?
Well, I don't know how much you can transform that team. You don't have a quarterback. That's Tua's fourth concussion. This is his fourth concussion. And I wish him best whatever he decides to do, because right now there's not a policy where it says you have to retire. but you don't want him to, CTE, encephalopathy, is basically when you have a swollen brain. You have a swollen brain because you've had too many concussions. And this is what happened to Junior Seau. Okay, and you only diagnose these after death with an autopsy. Okay? And too many players are ended up with CTE. Brett Favre has Parkinson's now. Okay, but that was brought on in part by the hits. That was put in, just like Muhammad Ali. That was brought on by taking too many blows. And Brett Favre played in a time when they didn't have a concussion protocol. He was just going out there all wobbly. You don't know what he was doing, and you could say whether he was being himself or whether he was playing under a concussion.
Man, look, I just Miami was a Super Bowl championship team, at least a championship game. Now it look like y'all barely gonna make the playoffs.
Oh, no, not at all. Because not at all. Now there's a conversation. They're playing New England this week. That's a kick-ass conversation. New England and Miami, because neither one of them is going to score many points. Question is, I think whoever gets to 15 is going to win.
You got jokes. I see. You got jokes. I just made a video when I said Philly and Miami only be scoring 15, 16 points a game. Y'all supposed to be averaging 30 plus, but just like the Browns supposed to be averaging 20 plus, Browns ain't. I just made a video on them. Browns ain't scored over 20 points the whole season, and the teams we playing, we should be putting up 30 on. But that's here nor there. Let's move on.
Wait. I read somewhere that the Browns didn't even offer to bring Joe Flacco back. Okay, so that's okay. He's doing his magic in Indiana now. Okay, that's okay. He's playing Joe Flacco. I don't know. Tell me what your take on Deshaun Watson is as a Cleveland fan. Go ahead.
He answered these questions. I'm the host. Okay. Okay. Let's see. I believe if you take away all the, I'm gonna say allegedly, because if I don't say allegedly, YouTube gonna block my video. So allegedly, the off-field problems he having. I don't know if Deshaun. A lot of people saying they think he becoming overrated. I don't think he overrated. I just think he's so busy focused on what's going on off the field. You're not taking that what's on the field. So that's why I think they signed Jameis Winston with the good vision, because a lot of people don't know he had bad vision. I think it's time we just bring Jameis in. Yeah, the Browns reconstructed Deshaun Jackson. I keep saying this. Deshaun Watson contract. I see why they did it, because we're not about to pay you $300 million, $200 million, and you ain't even putting no 20 points a game. We also not about to, dude, you have Amari Cooper, Joker, you have a receiver running a 4-3 also. A lot of receivers becoming fast now. We had the number one, number two defense last year with the Browns. Now I do believe Cleveland defense, I believe there's more pressure on them, because y'all was number one and number two defense last year. So I'm not going to blame the defense side for it now. When it comes to the offense side of the ball, Deshaun Watson, I don't... he can't... Sometimes he ain't even threw over 200 yards a game. The amount of money Cleveland paying you, man, how come you ain't even throwing over 200 yards? But man, I'm not... This ain't the podcast for it. I do this on my own. Well, I had guests, I don't want to talk about the Browns, but... Yeah, what's your take on Cleveland Browns?
Is the offense just not there? It's just not there.
At all.
And Joe Flacco throwing to Amari last year was not by design. He took it upon himself, and this is what we're going to do. And they won a lot of games because it was a magical run, And but that offense just is not there. Not there. The fabulous defense, but the offense is not there. Regardless of how much you pay them, it's just not there.
Yeah, we gonna move on from the Browns, because we gonna see how they do Sunday. But another team in your area, the Buffalo Bills. The only time Buffalo Bills was balling was the early 90s when they went to 4 Super Bowl and lost all 4, 2 to the Cowboys. I see lately Von Miller got suspended for personal conduct. What you feel? We're going to make this short. What you feel about that, the Von Miller suspension?
The allegations?
Yeah, the allegations.
The allegations are ugly. I was just reading about that. I said, that's just ugly, and there's no place for that. You're a franchise, doesn't matter which franchise, you're putting them out in a public venue. It is a public venue, okay? And you can't promote that. You can't promote that. That's just ugly. And that's I read that he denied it, she's denied it. And so I don't know how the NFL came to what it came if everybody's denying it, but there's a lot of smoke there. There's a lot of smoke. No, you can't. It's an ugly conversation.
Yes, things like that. I don't want. This ain't the type podcast. So I don't want to feel like I'm bashing players because I feel like players go through enough. Some of them do need to be bashed, but this ain't. I think with the Von Miller situation, it is what it is. I hope he come out of it good because he do got some left in the tank left for the Bills, but if he don't.
No, that's another conversation. I think he's had 4 ACL surgeries. He hasn't done anything in the last 3 years. I don't know why the Bills signed him to begin with. He was coming off like his 3rd ACL there. You understand that every time you have an ACL surgery, the whole everything there becomes more fragile. Okay, and he if you look at his numbers, I'm generalizing, but he's done nothing for 3-4 years. It's not like he's going to all of a sudden turn around and have a 10-sack season. That's just not happening. No. And the conversation, talking about these suspension for 4 games, right? For 4 games.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. There's always a conversation. It's unfortunate in a way. Okay? It's about need at times. Okay, need. Okay? Right now, the Bills are scoring 30 points a game, 2nd in the league, and the defense is giving up under 21 points a game. That's 12th in the league. Basically, they have almost a 10-point swing. You're going to win games when you do that. You're going to do wins. How? I think it's also complementary. Josh Allen's only thrown for 7 touchdowns, but he has no interceptions. Takeaways, that's always a big, model about, win the turnover battle, you're going to win games. What do you think of Keon Coleman? Okay. I thought following the draft, I said, no, this is a player I don't want to touch. And they brought him in, and he hasn't done a whole lot. He has only 8 receptions so far. He only has that. And I thought that run game was going to be a lot stronger because last year they had a real good run game at the end of the season when they needed to win. And so I thought they were going to focus more on the run. They haven't done so great with the run. They're 17th in the league in the run game.
Keon, but it says he got. Do he be having off the field issues?
Remember when they got drafted by the Bills? He was like a media star. He's wearing that yellow coat and everything, and he was carrying on. Okay, but my recollection is, first of all, when you throw the ball up for grabs, the amount of times he comes down with it is really underwhelming. He's a big guy, but you should be able to control the air balls, but he doesn't. He's not super fast, and he doesn't have great hands. I said, how did this guy become a top-rated selection? I don't know. It's like Quentin Johnston with the Chargers. I thought that was going to not work out well either. And they're kind of similar players, big guys, not great hands. How do you become a wide receiver and not have great hands? I need. Talk to me, TJ. I need to know, how do you become a receiver and not have great hands? Talk to me.
I don't know, man. You tell me. You tell me, man.
You see him. You talk about Daniel Jones at times looking, his numbers look better. Well, it's easy. He throws the ball all day to Malik. Just throw it anywhere near it, and he comes down with it. He comes down with everything, and that's the way it's supposed to be. That's the way it's supposed to be. If you can get 2 hands on it, forget about it. It's yours. You got these receivers who hits them in the hands and they drop it. I never understood that.
Let me ask you a question, because I heard you throw it earlier. What's your take on Aaron Rodgers? Because I heard what you said a little earlier. What's your take on Aaron Rodgers?
They lost to the Denver Broncos. And I kind of saw it early in the game when they were ahead of Denver, but they didn't put them away. And Denver kept on coming and kept on coming. Denver has a decent defense, and Bo Nix is going to have his up and downs. I get that. But you know the problem when you have a 39-year-old player? You ready for this? Are you ready for this analogy? Let me blow your mind here. You ready for
I'm ready.
Jimmy Connors. Jimmy Connors. 1991 U.S. Open. Okay? He makes, yeah. You ready for this one? He's 39 years old. Could have been 1990. I don't know. It's okay. It doesn't matter. Let all the people come out and correct us. That's okay. 1991 U.S. Open, 39 years old. He gets deep into the U.S. Open, but ultimately he falters the legs. He couldn't recover the next day when every match being a big game, big match. As he progressed further towards the championship, he just body gave out. It's 17 games now. Aaron Rodgers is going to have trouble down the road. He's going to have trouble down the road. It's a long season. He looked good. His numbers right now are good. I saw that he's like 5-1, five touchdowns, 1 interception, which is good. Good numbers here. Where am I looking at? 5 TDs, 1 interception. Yeah, he's only throwing for 230 yards a game. That's 18th in the league. That's uneventful. That's uneventful. I mean, they're 2-2. That's it. They're 2-2. It's uneventful. They're only scoring 19 points a game. They're scoring 19 points a game. Not good.
A lot of these teams not scoring high points. I don't know. The NFL had allegedly. You told them block my video. I don't know. They had them little, back alley room meeting about. I guess we need to start letting defenses actually play football again, because a lot of people not watching no more. Because a lot of these games be low scoring, and it's rare to be some high scoring games. Now a lot of these defenses all trying to get away with a lot of calls that used to be called. Y'all started not being called. That's just my opinion.
Well, I think the game is changing, and like I said, I think the defenses are geared to try to deny the pass offense. So now the offense has to respond. You have like the coordinator up in Detroit, pound the ball. Jared Goff looks like $1 million, right? Well, all he's doing a big part of the game is giving to Montgomery and Gibbs, right? He looks tremendous, right? Tremendous player. Well, is he a top 5 player quarterback? Well, yeah, but you could put yes. Brown's a terrific player. I think Jameson Williams has to come up bigger this year. If they're going to move forward, Jameson Williams, the other wide receiver, has to do better. Sam Laporte's going to be good, but they need more out of their second receiver. But they're just running the ball. That's what they're going to do. What happened in the Rams, right? Last year, yes, you talk about Puka having a terrific year, and yes, they're down, Kupp and Puka. But Kyrie Williams, you need to be able to run the ball. You need to run the ball, the big thing. And coming back to the Giants, who are averaging 85 yards a game, that's not going to win. That's not going to win.
So sometimes if I bring my guest on, I like to throw in a random team because on this podcast, I like to give some teams who a lot of people don't talk about some attention, I guess. What's your take on the Arizona Cardinals?
Yeah, it's interesting. Cliff Kingsbury is in Washington now, and he's doing this thing with Jaden. Okay, when Kyler first started, he was doing his thing with Kyler. But Kyler, coming back to the theme we were talking about, Kyler's a small quarterback. Yeah, yes, he's won on a college level. He's won in high school level. He's won he's won everywhere. But that's my dog's going off, so it's my turn. Okay, but they have Marvin Harrison Jr. Terrific. I don't know what else they got. But that's forever. That's forever. Just. That's just, I don't know. It just, I don't put.
To be, people talk about Super Bowl and championship. What is it, like 4 or 5 years ago with the Cardinals? It's quick it's crazy how quick these NFL teams be Super Bowl status, and a year or two later they barely getting 10 wins. Like, it's just crazy.
They're not gonna be 500 this year. They're not gonna be 500. They're just. I don't know. They're out there doing their thing, but I don't know. But they got it tough. Look at in the division. You got the Seahawks, who are they're competitive, right? You got the Rams, who to me they're better than the Seahawks, and then you got the 49ers that are absolutely loaded. And you know what? They ran the ball really well the other night, the 49ers, without CMC. And here you go, tying it back to Miami. They ran the ball without CMC. Mike McDaniels in Miami has the same offense as the Shanahan offense. It's the same offense. It's predicated on a good run game. Right. You take this. You take the lineage. Right. You take the lineage all the way back to Mike Shanahan, who would take running backs out of nowhere. Right. Davis. Terrell Davis. Right. Terrell Davis had a 2,000-yard season. Right. One of 8 running backs to ever do that. He was a 6th-round pick. Mike Shanahan would take these running backs out of nowhere, put them in, do the zone blocking thing, and they'd be successful. Shanahan today in San Francisco, basically the same thing. Mike McDaniel learned from Kyle. That's what he has to do. He has a whole bunch of good running backs in Miami. That's what he has to do. He doesn't have a quarterback now. He has to go to the run game. He's not adjusting well. He's really doing really poorly.
I believe some of these teams, they just need to get their act together. Like, it's like the teams that people didn't have winning. Like Washington, 3-0 stuff. Well, they 3-1. They barely lost though, but they 3-1. Then nobody had them becoming 3-0 out the gate, 3-1. Everybody probably had them 1-4, 1-3, or 0-4. Then nobody had them 3-1. Like, and then Miami 1-3. That's the team who everybody was gonna think style 3-1. It's just crazy, man. What's your
Daniels is completing 80% of his passes.
80%
of his passes. Now it's true that the average pass is for less yards. Every year, 2002, 2003, 2022, 23, 24, every year the average pass is going for less yardage. This is true, which is the trend. I'm telling you, the 2 high safeties is taking that away. They're making, and Patrick is having trouble with it, right? He's thrown like 17 interceptions in his last 18 games. He's having trouble with it. He has to make adjustments. But You do this RPO, you know that's what you're going to do, and you do this dink here, dink there, and you get 80%. You're going to be successful with that. You know, yes, you need to take your shots down the field, and McLaurin is going to get his 1,000 yards because you need to be able to. You can't dunk all the day because that's what happened to the Giants, right? They put up 15 points on five field goals, and they just needed to put one or two of them into the end zone against the Cowboys. They couldn't. You need to be able to. This is a great one. Hank Stram, you need to be able to matriculate down the field. That's a great quote. That goes back to the 1970 team. Yeah. Matriculate down the field.
You know your NFL history, I can see. You going back to the 60s, the 80s, 70s.
It's football, man. It's football. That's it. Just know your stuff. Just know your stuff, boo.
Yeah, a lot of people, they forget about the old players and the historic football games. Some of even the great players. Like, there's a lot of Detroit fans. Remember they came out with that Barry Sanders documentary? What was it, like a year or two ago? A lot of Detroit fans didn't even know Barry Sanders. The young ones at that. I'm like, I mean, he made Detroit relevant because after what's that dude? Bobby Lane or something?
Bobby Lane. Are you ready for this? 1957 MVP. Yes, Bobby Lane. They were fabulous then, but they haven't done anything in a long, long time. Yeah.
He gave them some curse or something. Y'all ain't never gonna win. I don't know. I don't keep on Detroit like that. The point is, Barry made y'all popping in the 90s. The 90s. He retired by two. He made y'all relevant in the 90s because there's nobody watching Detroit games. Nobody. Barry came in. He started doing all this. Okay, that's what made y'all popular. He basically was filling the stadium for Detroit. He basically was keeping the lights on, as we like to say. He kept the lights on. But, I think it's time for us to wrap this up. Go ahead and tell me where they can find you at, man.
Well, basically, you can find me online. You can find me online at, Barry Schust, SCHUST. But, I have my own website, Barry's Journal. I write about football. I am a nurse, so I write about healthy living articles. You could find it. Yeah. Barry'sJournal.com. We're doing okay. We're only live for 1 year now, but we're doing really well. We're getting some advertisers now. And that's my big thing is, the journal. I write. They're my words, my thoughts, my jam. Yeah, that's where I am.
Okay, this has been, you can find Barry on Twitter. I know he definitely on Twitter. This has been TJ McKinley Podcast. We say what we want, how we want, whatever we want. And like, subscribe, do what y'all go do, basically. And thank y'all for watching.
Thank you.